Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Today's lesson / segment is entitled, Awake, O Israel, Separate. Once again, today's lesson is entitled, Awake, O Israel, Separate. Now that we have come awake in these lands, we have considered our ways and our doings, and we have been baffled as to why we suffer so. We have gone into the scrolls. We have been brought to remembrance. The Most High has poured out his Spirit upon us. We now know who our God is. We now know how to correctly face Jerusalem, lift our hands in prayer, and make supplications unto him. As we turn to our God and his ways, we have to let go of everything else. As we begin to let go, that separation process begins to take place. And the Most High begins to remove all the wicked people from the midst of us. And he begins to separate his people from everyone else. But there's also a separation within the house of Israel. There's a separation between the wicked Israelite and the Israelite that will walk in righteousness. Once again, brace yourselves, tighten up your jaws. Do not turn to the left or to the right, or you will get hit in the mouth. We are to walk the straight and narrow way of the Most High's commandments. We are not to deviate to the right hand or to the left. We are to walk the straight and narrow way. I was having a discussion with one of my brothers here the other day, and he's much older than I, and he wanted to know what the solution was. I explained it to him the best I could from a normal man's vantage point, because he is an Israelite. However, he does not walk in the law, statutes, judgments, and precepts of the Most High. And most times when someone asks you something, they're normally looking at your ways and your doings to see if you're actually speaking that which you're professing. And that can be very difficult to get someone to understand the ways of the Most High. In fact, you can't do it if they have not turned with their whole heart and their whole soul. So I will go into the scrolls. We will reference the scrolls, and then we will consider why we are here, and we will certainly review what the out is. Let's first turn to Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. The book of Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. Once we understand that we are a special people, that we are a holy people, then we cannot be hanging out and dealing with those who are neither special nor are they holy. And verse 6 of Deuteronomy chapter 7 reads, For thou art an holy people unto Yah thy strength. Yah thy strength has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. There's no trinity in himself. Hence, himself indicates it's a singular pronoun. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Above all people, that means above all other families of the earth. There's no other family that has been chosen to be a special people unto Yah and Yah alone. Not everybody. Okay? So this is to reiterate that the book that we're reading, the book of remembrance, Genesis to Malachi, is our history. It is our records. It is the Most High's prophets who were men of our families. This book is nothing but a reference for us for when we come awake. That way we will be reading the words of our forefathers, not that of strangers. Let's turn to Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 2. Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 2, and it reads, For thou art an holy people. Once again, thou art an holy people unto Yah thy strength. And Yah thy strength has chosen thee to be a peculiar, set apart, very different people unto himself. Once again, a singular pronoun. There is no trinity here. Above all the nations, nations are nothing but families that are upon the face of the earth. We've just read the same thing in two places. Let's move down to Psalms 147, and we will read verse 19 and verse 20. Psalms 147, chapter 147, and we will read verse 19 and verse 20. He showeth his word unto Jacob. Another way to say that is he shows his word, his law, his statutes, his judgments, his precepts, and also bring forth his prophecies through Jacob, who is Israel, through Israelite family, the Israelite family. His statutes and his judgment unto Israel. Only this specific family is the Most High dealing with. He is not dealing with anyone else. Let me reread that one more time for effect. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. That means he has shown us his laws, and he has shown us the punishments for breaking these laws, that we may enforce them. He hath not dealt so with any nation. In the Bible, in this book, in the book of remembrance, when you read Genesis chapter 10, you understand a nation constitute a family. When you hear the word nation, that comprises of a specific family who are of the same bloodline. That's what a nation is when we're speaking biblically. Nowadays, let's say, for example, a nation such as France. That's not a nation. That's a slap together country. You have many different people from the many different families of the earth that live in France. In America, it's the same thing. You have many different people of the many different families living in America. And they're calling this a nation. This is not a nation. This is what you call a collaboration of mingled people. And we were never to be mingled in the midst of each other. That's why we all had borders. Now, he hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, meaning the judgments, his punishments, he has never punished the other nations. They were never given his law. So they have always been lawless. However, we were given a set of rules. And therefore, he is saying he has not dealt so with any of these other families. As for his judgments, they have not known them. In other words, these are the families of the earth, other than the house of Israel. They have never been punished by the Most High for walking contrary to his law, for they were never given his law in the first place. However, the children of Israel, we were given the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. Therefore, anytime and every time we step out of line, we will get hit in the mouth. Every time, not sometimes. So the Most High is busting our heads, and now we're beginning to understand clearly why we're getting busted in the head. And once we realize why, now it's time to make sure that this thing stops. And this is where we turn back with our whole heart and our whole soul and start doing the things that are right in the sight of the Creator. Amos, verse 9, chapter 9, verse 9. We'll read Amos. Amos chapter 9 and verse 9 reads, For lo, I will command and I will sift. Sift is to separate the house of Israel among all nations. So he's going to separate the house of Israel. He's going to separate the family of Israel from the rest of the other families. Why? Because we were separated in the first place. We were never to join onto the other families of the earth. When you hear the term heathen, heathen refers to families other than the family of Israel, or other than the house of Israel. If you're not of the house of Israel, you're considered to be a heathen. You're of the other nations. You're not of the nation of Israel. It's not a offensive term, so to speak. When you hear the term the heathen, he's speaking to those who are not of the house of Israel. It means nothing more and it means nothing less. In other words, the heathen are those who have never heard the voice of the Most High. The heathen are those who have never been given the laws of the Most High. The heathen are those who have never felt the brunt of the blow of disobeying the Most High. So once again, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations. He's going to separate us from the other families. Like corn is sifted in the sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. Therefore, he's going to separate us in such a manner that none of us, when he starts to separate us, gather us from all these many nations, there's none of us that's going to be left in these places, especially those of us who are walking in the way and have chosen the way that is right. Verse 10, all the sinners, he's going to make it specific because you have these Christians telling our people some madness. And the Most High has never spoken to a Christian. When he brought forth, all of his prophets were of our own people. All of our judges were of our own people. Everything in this family is in-house. But yet we have strangers who are not of our family telling us something that's contrary to what our God have said, contrary to what our forefathers and our progenitors have instructed us, who were our prophets. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. The stranger who know not Yah, who was never given the instructions of our God, who our God clearly states he don't know them, they're telling us that God loves God loves the sinner, the wicked, and the righteous altogether. That's what they're saying. Or he loves the wicked. He doesn't like the wicked's ways. This is madness. All the sinners of my people. He's very specific. My possessive pronoun. This is not everybody. God don't love the whole world and the whole earth and everybody. The Most High loves the children of Israel, his people, one specific family. And what the heathen sought to do, anything that belongs to the children of Israel, they want to stake claim to it. They want to stake claim to our inheritance. It will not be allowed. Once again, verse 10, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. He's going to kill you. Which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. So many of our people, there's times of trouble coming. The nations are preparing for war. We see it everywhere. This particular nation, the daughter of Babylon, is going to have to deal with those coming from the north. You're going to have to deal with these Russians and the conglomerate that comes with them as far as the soldiers and their armies. So the body bags are coming. The wars are coming. But there are many Christians are standing up talking about no weapons formed against us shall prosper. Well, we have been Christians in all of these many nations of our captivity. Central, South, Latin America, Asia, the Pacific Islands, the Caribbean Islands, North America, South America, Europe. Many of our people, many of the children of Israel have been Christians and are Christians. And every single solitary weapon that has been formed against us, from the jail cell to inoculation, to strangulation, to hanging, to shots by bullets, etc. Every form of weapon, including the weapon of the pen, i.e. legislation that directly has an adverse effect upon our people. All these means and machinations of destroying our people have prospered. So the Christian, the Israelite who has taken a hold of the ways of his enemies, who have taken a hold of falsehood, is talking about no weapon against us shall prosper. And meanwhile, he has seen his cousins, his fathers, his uncles, his grandfathers, his great-grandfathers, all the weapons that our enemies have formed against us and our children has prospered in times past and continue to prosper today. So what you have is a bunch of people who are unwilling to believe what their own eyes see. And this is when someone tried to comfort themselves because their reality is unbearable. So they resort to lies and fantasies. So we understand clearly that the Most High said he's going to kill them. There will be no, I'm going to just go ahead and, escape this somehow. Christianity is going to deliver me somehow. When the tornadoes come and knock over the churches, they're going to be in the churches hollering while the winds are coming, and no one is going to deliver them. So we're going to see clearly that the God that they have placed their trust in will fail them in their time of trouble. And so, man of Israel, let go of the idol. Let go of the ways of the nations. For it will fail you. It is vanity. It is vain. Let's turn to Amos chapter 3. Amos chapter 3, we will read verse 1 and verse 2. Hear this word that Yah has spoken against you, O children of Israel. Every time you hear the Most High speaking, he is speaking directly to his people. What you will not read here is, hear this word that Yah has spoken against you, O Christians, O Hindus, O Muslims, old Rastafarians, old Mormons, old Seventh-day Adventists, old Catholics, don't know none of them. He doesn't know any of them. He knows one specific family, the children of Israel. He gave one specific family his laws, the children of Israel. All of his prophets came out of the children of Israel. All of his governors, quote unquote kings, David and all of his sons came out of the family of Israel. All of our leaders are supposed to be of the house of Israel. We were instructed to never ever put a stranger, someone who is not of our family, to lead us in any capacity. That is to be reiterated. Once again, hear this word that Yah has spoken unto you, O children of Israel, against the whole family. The house of Israel is not a belief system. It is a bunch of family members related by bloodline via genetics. And no one can graft themselves into someone else's genetics. Once again, unto the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, he's talking to this one family that he brought up out of Egypt. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. This is the Most High Yah speaking to the children of Israel. He's not speaking to anyone else. These are very direct conversations. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities, not some. So he's saying, Israel, to this whole family that I brought up, to this whole family that I have delivered, I'm going to punish you for your sins because I have only known you and I have chosen you. We have been delivered many times. No JC needed. No black JC, no white JC. Most High and the Most High alone has been delivering us, and it is he who will deliver us yet again for the final time. Now, when we're dealing with the term to separate, this can be confusing because we're thinking that to separate means that we can't have friends that are of the heathen. We can't do business with the heathen. We just can't do anything with them, period. We're just supposed to be in the midst of ourselves, etc. And we know that the heathen runs everything because we have no might in our hand. They will lend to us. We will be powerless to lend to them. And we will rely upon the heathen for the want of all things. So many people will argue and they will contend that, well, how are we going to be able to separate from them? They own everything. Another argument will be that, well, we're already separate. And indeed that we are. If we look anywhere within America or any of these other countries, you have a contingent of Vietnamese people that live in a very specific pocket. You have people who may be Chinese that live in a specific area. You have the Arabs that have their specific area. You have some Caribbean people that may have their specific area, etc., in all of these nations. So we are already separate based on geographics within a particular country. So the Vietnamese people that may live in America, they live in a very specific place. The language is going to be Vietnamese. The customs and habits and behaviors are going to be Vietnamese. And their elders may govern in that place, totally autonomous from the rest of what America does. So, total autonomy from the rest of what America is doing. You can find that in your quote-unquote Somali areas as well. You go into some places, it's a Somali enclave. They speak whatever Somalis speak, eat what they eat, do what they do, intermarry in the midst of each other, and you have little Somalia within the United States. And there's no reason why we cannot possibly have Israelites walking within the law within the United States in a specific geographical location. We were instructed to separate ourselves from the heathen. That simply means we don't wear what you wear. Speaking of that, just to go into the store and for me to buy a couple of pairs of shorts and some shirts, because I'm a golfer, so you know I golf a lot. To go buy some clothes, everything has elastic in it. Everything is 60-40 or have a composition of many different fabrics. It'll take me 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes to find 2 pairs of shorts that is 100% cotton or 100% whatever. They are mixing the fabrics. Something that is 100% is very, very hard to find. And we were instructed clearly that we were not to wear any mixed linen. So to withdraw yourself, you can start off right there. Let me go through my closet and find everything that is not 100% of that fabric, and I will cast it out. Throw it out. New, old, whatever. Throw it out. We don't wear it. That's one way to separate yourself from the heathen. The heathen can walk into the store, and if he wears a 34, 32, that's my size, all right, or 36, 32, he goes and grabs that size. He doesn't look to see what it's made of. He could care less. He has never been given any stipulation that he should not wear mixed garments. That was only given to the children of Israel, period. So that's one area of separation. On the Sabbath day, we were instructed, let every man remain in his dwelling place on the Sabbath day. What is your dwelling place? The place where you dwell, that is known as your dwelling, is your house. To remain within your dwelling place on the Sabbath day means exactly that. You are at home, at rest with your family, sleeping, fasting, reading the scrolls, and getting that good rest. And you will not realize how tired you are during the week, hustling and bustling, until you take the moment to observe the Most High Sabbath day and to be at complete rest. Then you will realize exactly how weary you are in these nations. So that's another means of separation. You're out working, killing yourself. And if you ever notice, for those of you who keep the Sabbath day, during the Sabbath or after the Sabbath, you get all the news of exactly how many killings and shootings, etc., took place. That would not have happened to these people had they been in their homes, observing the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts as they were commanded. So that's one way of separating ourselves from them. The foods that we eat. Some people can go into the store, well, the nations can, and just start grabbing any type of meat off that rack and put it in their buggies and go pay for it and walk out, go home and cook it. A man of Israel walking in the law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, I don't shop the way you shop. I don't cook my foods the same way you do. We are commanded not to eat any manner of blood, nor to drink any manner of blood. The heathen is going to take a steak, throw it in the pan, brown one side, brown the other side, and then they're going to eat it. Blood all through that thing. It's half raw. We were instructed at no time were we to ever drink blood. At no time are we to eat meat with blood in it, for blood is the life of the animal. And we are not to eat the blood with the life. We are never at any time to drink any blood, and we are at no time to eat our food with blood in it. We were specifically instructed what types of food we can eat. And so therefore, you can't just go to the potluck. You can't be at work and have a bunch of people bring food in and you indiscriminately decide you wanted to try everything. You don't know what's in it. So a man of Israel, before we eat something, we're asking questions. We become that peculiar people. Oh, he's kind of weird. Or he won't eat this. He won't do that. They know clearly not to invite you to the birthday party. They know good and well you're not coming to the Christmas party. They're not going to come and tell you Merry Christmas, because you're going to look at them like they're crazy. You're different. You're peculiar. You're set apart. You're not like everyone else. This is part of that separation. They come to you. Matter of fact, they won't come to you with any manner of unrighteousness, especially if they know that you walk in that law. Their conversations are different around you than they are around everyone else. Certain topics they're not coming to you with because they know your position. This is the separation when we begin to withdraw ourselves from our enemies. Everyone is concerned about the political circumstance within their nation. We could care less about what's going on politically, for we understand exactly that we are in captivity in these lands. And for us to separate from the heathen means that we're no longer taking part in your political system. For it was wicked from its inception, and it has an adverse effect upon us. To take part in this wickedness is to multiply our sorrows. So when we become aware of all of these things, now what we do, we simply separate. Does that mean that I don't go and buy my groceries from this man's store? It doesn't mean that. Does it mean that I don't, because I have a business, I won't allow the heathen to come into my business? It doesn't mean that. Does it mean that I do not go into the business of the other nations? It doesn't mean that. The house of Israel, we have traded with many other nations before. Some men were great with timber. Some men are great by navigating the seas. Some are great with doing work with metals and things like that. There are other nations that have gifts as well that are not the house of Israel. So we have traded with other nations and other peoples, other families in times past. However, we're not bartering with you on the Sabbath day. Don't come around here on the Sabbath day. You want to sit down and eat this pig, we're not going to do that with you. You want to sell us some clothes that's of a mixed fabric, we're not going to do that with you. You want to try to get my daughter to marry your son, that's a no-no. So we separate ourselves from them in that manner. I can still come to your store, but when I come to your store and I buy your clothing, I'm buying clothing that my God has said is okay for me to wear. When I come to your grocery store to buy the food, I'm buying food that my God has approved for me to eat. There is no abominable things in my pots at this house. So this is where the separation takes place. It doesn't mean that you can't have a friend that's a white guy. Doesn't mean you can't have a friend that's an Arab guy. In fact, if you're walking in the law, statutes, judgments, and precepts of the Most High will cause your enemies to be at peace with you. So they will deal with you differently because you walk in this law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. So we are to understand when we speak of separating, it doesn't mean that, well, I don't go and work for a company that's owned by a white person, and I don't do business with a white person, and I can't speak to the Japanese guy, and I can't be friends with the Indian guy, and I can't go to the Indian store. It doesn't mean any of these things. It simply means if I come to your store and I'm to be a patron there, the things that I buy are in accordance with the laws that my God has instructed me to follow. Isn't that what everyone else does? It's really simple. It's not hard. If every other people can have an enclave of their people in a specific area, walking after their customs, speaking that language, etc., then if the house of Israel is walking in the Most High's law, statute, judgment, and precepts, certainly we can have that as well. We do have our own community by which we do this, but that is a virtual community where many of us are speaking to each other via, I'm speaking to you right now. Many of us are not living in, like, quote unquote, in one specific area. Oftentimes, when I have found that many of our people are doing such a thing, it's very cult-like. And the goal is not to be caught up in such foolishness. Now, let's speak to captivity and separating. The reason why we have been placed in captivity is for one reason. We have disobeyed the strong one of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We have taken the words of Yah, we've balled it up, chucked it behind our backs, and hence we are in this mess. So we were all sent into these nations for punishment. Keep in mind, we were being wicked. So if you want to be wicked, I'm going to send you into the midst of the wicked. That's what the Most High has done. That way we get to see real live wickedness up close and personal. You want to be like the wicked? I will deliver you into the hands of the wicked. Now, if we are here in the lands of our enemies, that's where the Most High said he would send us. If you are an Israelite with any sense, you know that anyone that's not of the house of Israel is an enemy unto you. And now that you're in the law, you know that those that are of the house of Israel that's not walking in the law, they are an enemy unto you too. That's why there is no rest for the children of Israel. The blade is sharp on both sides for us. We've got to deal with the rebellious Israelite within our house and within our families, and we've got to deal with the heathen out in the street, and they're one and the same. They're both anti-Yah. They can care less about commandments, less about laws, less about righteousness. So we have been delivered into the hands of our enemies. We've been delivered into the hands of the wicked. Now, what is it that a wicked man is going to give a righteous man, but except a headache? And so therefore we are here understanding clearly that we were delivered into the hands of our enemies, yet we think somehow our enemies are going to assist us. Somehow we think that the ways of our enemies are going to help us. The promises of our enemies are going to help us, and we have placed our hope in this thing. We are a people that have always been a hopeless bunch. So therefore you can sell us hope at all times because we're always in a state of hopelessness. So we are in these nations serving punishment. That's what we're doing. Consider us being in these nations, consider it kind of like a jail sentence. Now, the only reason why an individual is sent to jail is because they have broken laws. Do you understand? So now, once you've broken laws, since you wanted to be criminal and do criminal things, you get sent in the midst of the criminal. You go to criminal university. That's jail. That's prison. There you're going to meet the murderers, the rapists, the extortionists, the stranglers. You're going to meet them all. The kidnappers, the rapists, the pedophiles. You're going to have all the wickedness you can stand when you get sent in the midst of the wicked. And there's many of us who have committed a crime, got sent to prison, got in the midst of criminal university, and was absolutely disgusted by it. And all they could think about is how contrite their heart was for what they have done, and can't wait to get out, knowing in their heart that they would never do that again, to be returned back onto that place. However, there's a contingent of us to where we will commit a sin. Sin is nothing but an ancient word for crime. Crime and sin is one and the same. They're synonymous. Some of us may commit a crime, go to jail, and be in the midst of the criminal university. You've got all the professional criminals there. The killers, the murderers, the rapists, the extortionists, the kidnapper, etc. They're all right there. And they decide to learn the ways of the wicked, learn the ways of the criminal, that they may make themselves a better, much more proficient and efficient criminal. Some are sent for a short time. And the reason why anyone is sent to jail is to be reformed, that they may consider their ways and their doings and make them good, i.e. change. Some of them are sent to prison to pine away. And when you read the term pine away in this book, it means you will simply die there. So many of our people will pine away in the midst of these open air prisons called nations by which we were sent, into which we were sent. Many of them will pine away and die in these nations, for they will not reform themselves. We have been sent into these nations that we may change. And while we are in these nations doing straight hard time, many of us have pined away in these nations. And there will be a contingent of us that will turn back with our whole heart and our whole soul, and will not indulge being in criminal university. We will separate ourselves from the criminals and turn back to that which is right. The criminals are all the heathen nations that has brought us into their lands and made us servants, slaves. That's who the criminals are. They have never known righteousness. That's why we can't get any righteousness in the midst of them. So we have to understand all of these things that we may separate. Okay, I understand clearly the error that I have done. Now that I know this, I'm not going to do this anymore. And anyone that's taking part in these errors, I've got to separate myself from them. If I'm a car thief and I stole a few vehicles, got caught up, got thrown in jail for 5 years for grand auto theft or whatever the case may be, I don't go in there and try to get with all the fellas that are the experts at stealing cars, that I may perfect a craft that is righteous. I realize that I've made an error. I'm not hanging with the car thieves or anyone else. I'm trying to stick to myself, do my time, and get out. because I'm of a contrite spirit. I want to turn back to that which is right. I don't want to endure this punishment. No ease, no rest, no peace. That's what you get when you're in jail. No ease, no rest, no peace. And the only one that's comfortable in such an environment is those who are wicked in the core, in their heart, in their minds. And this is what we're getting right now in these nations. No rest, no peace in the midst of the heathen. Because we are in jail. We are in the open air prisons of these many nations. So we are to turn back. Once again, turning back and separating ourselves means that we remove ourselves from their ways, their customs, and their gods. That we turn back to the customs and to the ways and the instructions of our Creator that we were given in the days of old. And hence, there is the separation. It doesn't mean that you can't go into the grocery store and buy some orange juice from the Indian man. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that you can't go buy your milk from the store that's owned by the Germans. It doesn't mean that. If at all possible, and there's an Israelite that has such a store, certainly you are to support him, for he is one of your people. He is of your people. But to separate does not mean that all of a sudden you don't talk to someone because they're not of the same nation as you. It is that is silly. We are in captivity and we will remain here until the Most High delivers us from these lands. And when he does, it's going to be bloodshed beyond anyone's imagination. So we're to remember, we are to separate ourselves, and we will learn how to separate when we go into these laws and understand exactly the strict instruction that we were given. Once you decide to walk within the law, statutes, judgments, and precepts of the Most High, then you clearly will see how different you are compared to everyone else. It becomes clear unto you and clear unto everyone else around you that you are entirely different. What you have now done is you have now set yourself apart from them. And that is the great separation right there in a nutshell, by going through those laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. So Israel, separate yourselves from the heathen. And if you are of the heathen, you are of the families outside of Israel, and you seek to take a hold of righteousness, you will separate yourself from your people and turn to the God of Israel to walk in righteousness. Then you have joined yourself unto a man of Israel, unto the people of Israel, and you will not be totally separated from the Most High and his people. So I would like all of you who are not of the nations to know clearly that all is not lost for you. 1 second, let me turn on some lights. So all is not lost for you if you are not of the house of Israel. You're to clearly understand that you as well can turn with your whole heart and your whole soul and join yourself onto the children of Israel, and you may be delivered in that regard by walking after the law, statutes, judgments, and precepts of the Most High. So with that, Israel, continue to walk in the path that is right. For those of you who have been at the channel for quite some time, there are a few brothers out here other than myself that's actually presenting the word in righteousness and in truth. Brother Heathen ben Israel of your righteousness. You've got Brother Eli that's very strong in the word. In fact, Brother Eli has done a lesson pertaining to cremation that some of you may be interested in, because many of our people are always going to choose the cheap route because we do not have a lot of money. So do take a look at that if you have a chance. And I have no problems promoting brothers and putting them on my channel that are actually teaching this word in righteousness and in truth. We will not all see eye to eye until the Most High bring again Zion. But at the same time, I don't do a video every week. So some people would love to see me come on here every week, if not every day. And when I'm not here, or if I'm 2 weeks off or something like that, and I haven't presented a video, I have over 200 videos here. So hopefully you can find some education in them that they may help you, and the words of the Most High may strengthen you. But listening to others who are like-minded that are also teaching in this manner, that are Torah only, that is a good thing as well. That way you may hear it being delivered differently, but the message is still the same. different messenger, same message. So as we find those of us who are on one accord, it is a good thing for the children of Israel to know good and well that there are many, or there are an increasing number of our men that's turning with their whole heart and their whole soul towards the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. Because he has to make clear who is who and what's what, and who is delivering the message that he is sending in the way that he intended to be delivered. There are many camps out here. There are many brothers out here who are delivering this message. Many of them, the minute you click on the page, there's 6 places by which to send them some money. I find that kind of comical. However, to each his own. I feel as though, as a man of Israel, to deliver this word to the house of Israel, my reward is with my strong one, my health, my strength, my protection, etc. Those are my rewards, not money. So some people may view this differently. I don't do this for money. I had on the channel the other day someone made mention that if you don't believe in XYZ, I can no longer tune in. I find that funny. The average person may say, may say things to please and appease other people. What I do, once again, is not for money. I'm not here to appease you. I'm here to present some information to you, and you can do with it whatever you will. I cannot deliver you, period. You cannot deliver me, period. This is every man and every woman for himself. You have to turn with your whole heart and your whole soul, and you deliver you. I can't deliver you. When I'm dealing with Israelites who are of a Christian mind state, the Christian's mindset is always of them somehow telling you something to deliver you. They're somehow some great savior to you. And if you ever listen to a Christian, they're very concerned with trying to save you, which is kind of funny. The same people that telling you they're trying to save you are the ones that's shooting your sons down. And many of us believe these people when this nonsense that they push. So everyone is trying to act as though they're somehow your savior. But that's what they've always presented to us. We understand clearly there is but one savior, and that is Yah. And we understand clearly that we have to make that decision within our own hearts and minds by which to convert and be healed. We have to make a change in our mind state and our behavior. Our decision is very simple. Will we serve the Most High and live? Don't and die. There are no other choices. And so clearly, when someone decides to say something, well, you can follow the channel if I don't believe in X, Y, Z, if I don't believe in Black JC. No, I don't believe in Black JC. All of my videos makes this plain. So somehow, some people may take offense to that. And some people may want to appease that person because the more viewership you have and the more subscribers you have, you get paid. I don't care anything about that. I don't do this for money. My channel has never been monetized, nor will it ever be. There's no manner and ways by which for you to send me money, period. And there will never be. And if you sent me some money, I'm sending it right back. I don't need it. This is the thing that people can be trapped in, this money situation, because that's what rules their world. It doesn't for me. I can live in a mud hut, to be honest with you. So I can see clearly how many of our people have been caught up into this by a blessing thing, into this money thing. I remember one time that one of the brothers, I won't mention his name, that's at this channel, one of the few that I actually speak to in person, an older brother. He is an older man, retired, and all of his needs are met. And during the pandemic, I had made a video and I had made mention of the fact that my company, where I work, had shut down for, I want to say it was 2 or 3 weeks because of this quote unquote pandemic situation. And the brother called me and we're having a chat. And then he said to me, he said, Brother Lee, I know you made mention, I heard you made mention that your company, the company you work for, has shut down. I want to help. I would like to, you wanted to make a contribution or something of the sort. I said, whoa, brother, hold, stop. Thank you very much for your consideration, but I don't need any financial donations or any money or anything. All of my needs are met. I'm taken care of. I'm fine. Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate that. And this is a good brother. And he did this from the kindness of his heart. Matter of fact, brother, if you're listening to this, you know I need to call you down in Alabama. You know who you are, right? So, I mean, here's a man that he doesn't even know, but he was willing to help. And I'm not in a state of help, but I can see where many brothers can slip up and someone slip them a little $500 and they figure, you know what, if I can get 50 people, 10 people, 1,000 people to send me $200 a month, I could be skating. I could be home free or whatever the case may be. And their ways are always exposed to be unrighteous. So our people are kind-hearted and they will give their last if they think something is right. And what has happened is many of our men are out here teaching this word, but they're not doing it in righteousness and in truth. They're doing it for profit in other things and are fleecing the people, taking advantage of the elderly who are kind-hearted, taking advantage of our women who can be easily persuaded, and in some cases of our youth, our young men, and deliberately leading them in a way that is not right. I will choose no such path. So those of you who are here, when I do these videos, it's done with all sincerity. It has always been so and will always remain so. No money involved. All that I'm asking for is your time, and that you take what you have heard and you take it and you compare it to what you read in the scrolls, and then you make your own decision going forward. No money is needed for your redemption. What is needed is the acknowledgement of your errors, of your faults, and that you ask for repentance. You repent for what you have done incorrectly, for the sins and the crimes against the Most High's law, and that you turn back and do them no more, that you may let your light shine before all those that are around you, that you may look strange to them. He's peculiar. He's different. He doesn't wear this. He doesn't eat that. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. Yeah, that is the separation of the man that's walking in righteousness from those that are unholy that are around him. He sticks out like a sore thumb. That is the separation. Coming out of the mouth with all types of profanities, you're not going to find that out of the man that's walking in the way. You're not going to see it. You're not going to hear it. So therefore, you're going to be able to identify those who are walking in the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, precepts, because that man and that woman will carry themselves differently. You will see that light before them. Anyway, peace and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Peace to the children of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, and peace to the stranger that is of a contrite spirit, that will take a hold of the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts, and do them. Let not the stranger say that Yah has totally separated him from his people. That way, if you are a white guy, Indian guy, whatever type of guy, if you're a guy or a female or a family that's not of the house of Israel, and we bring this word to you, it is to be clear that this book specifically pertains to this family, Israel. It is not to everyone contrary to what you have been told by your people and others. But yet, in spite of that, do understand that if you seek after righteousness, there is a place for you in the midst of the children of Israel. However, you will have to walk in righteousness as we were instructed. That is to reiterate to the stranger that you are not to just say, you know what, I'm done. I'm going all out. There's no place for me. I might as well continue in my evil ways. Turn back, and you will reap the great reward that any other Israelite would reap. Now, keep in mind, you can't run anything because you have been running things throughout the earth, and the earth is a mess. So you can't run anything. We will be running everything. But the difference between us running things, and the way you have been running things is the fact that we will be doing this in righteousness. And you have been running the earth thus far in wickedness. Why? Because you have never known what righteousness is. Simple as that. Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Continue to walk in the way. And to those of you who do make comments, many of you positive and uplifting. I certainly appreciate it. I'm a man like anyone else. So when I hear encouraging words from those who are actually reaping benefits, rewards, and blessings from hearing the Most High's word and walking in the way, when I read your comments, they are uplifting. I take the time to respond to them that you may know that I have read them, and it certainly encourages and strengthens me as well. I would like you all to know that. From the sisters that do it to the brothers that do it, I enjoy the engagement. We may not all see eye to eye on every single solitary thing, but we are in agreement that we are Israel. These laws are to be kept, and we are to continue to walk in the way. Peace and Yah bless.